In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your rear brake caliper. This will apply to the 2008 to 2010 Ford F-250. Let's get started. Let's remove the wheel. If you have one of these covers that covers up your lug nuts, take a pry bar or screwdriver. They make a little slot here that you can use to pry it off. Remove it. Now use a 21mm socket and remove all 8 of your lug nuts. And take the wheel off. Now with the wheel off, if you look from the back side, you'll see the banjo bolt for the brake hose here. Let's break it free. I don't want to remove it yet, but I want to break it free now. That way, once the caliper is off, it'll be easier. Otherwise, you're going to struggle by trying to move the whole caliper around. You can use a 15mm socket. I have to use a 9/16, which is the standard equivalent. It's a little bit smaller, and this bolt is a little bit rusty, so I'm assuming that's why it fits better. So make sure it's seated all the way. We'll break it free and then snug it back up so that we don't lose fluid like this, but don't make it tight. Just make it snug to stop the fluid from dripping. Then we'll take the caliper off. We'll come back to this later. Use your 16mm socket. Remove the 2 bolts that hold the caliper onto the bracket. Leave the first one in a few threads to support the caliper while you take off the second one. Take the caliper. Oops, that pad fell. That's okay. We'll get that in a second. Now, you don't want to put any tension on this brake hose. It's short, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to hook it right around the shock absorber here. This is nice and loose, so that's perfect. Now take out your pads if they haven't fallen out yet. Make sure you save these, put them aside safely. Now take your 21mm socket and remove the 2 bolts that hold the bracket onto the axle housing. Okay, save the bolts, discard this. With our new caliper on the workbench, we have to separate the bracket from the caliper itself. These are 17mm bolts now, they're no longer 16s. So take these out. It's easiest if you have an impact. They are pretty tight, so take these out. I'm going to set the caliper aside for now. And what I want to do next is add some grease to both of these sliders. Now they do come pre-greased, but nowhere near enough. So as you can see, there's some, but I'm going to add some more. And it's okay if it's a different color grease, as long as what you're adding is brake grease, because you want it to be high temperature resistant. Work the grease into the boot here, add some to the slider, and slide the slider back down and in. Press the boot down, make sure you give it a couple twists to work the grease in there, and if there's any excess air, which right now there isn't, you can go ahead and squeeze it and the air will come out. At this point, we'll do the same to this slider over here. As you can see, that one had a little bit of air. Give it a couple twists. And one last thing I want to do is add some grease to these 2 areas. Just a nice thin coating. You don't want a lot here. You don't want it to squeeze out onto the rotor, but you do want it coated for 2 reasons. 1, rust prevention, and 2, you want the pads to be able to slide smoothly back and forth, because this is actually where they slide in and out on. Of course, to both sides. Then we will be ready to install the caliper onto the vehicle. Grab the bracket, slide it on, and line it up. Put the 2 bolts back. Now if you wanted to apply anything to these threads, you would apply thread locker, not anti-seize or grease or anything like that. These are threading in nicely all the way down, and I just bottomed them out by hand. So now we'll go ahead and torque these to 203 foot-pounds. Now to put the pads on, your new caliper should have come with new anti-rattle clips, and if you wanted to use them, which I suggest, you would go ahead and slide them on. First, take your old ones off. Mine fell out. But what you want to look at is, you'll see that there's a thicker arm and a thinner arm. The thicker arm, you want it to be on the outside of the pad, the thinner arm on the inside of the pad. And that is because these also act as springs to push the pads out from the rotor when you're done applying the brakes. And if you put them on backwards, well, it'll push it off at an angle. So this is what you want it to look like. Like I said, thicker arm on the outside of the pad, thinner arm on the inside of the pad. So now you would take the pads, slide them in. Might be a little tricky to get them lined up at first, but once you find the angle, it should kind of just fall into place. Now, keep in mind, These springs want to push the pads out, like I said, so they do have a chance. They do have the possibility of falling out. So once you press it in, don't just let go of it because the spring pressure will shoot it backwards. Let go slowly, and that'll hold it in there just a little bit, enough for you to grab the other pad, put it in, and then the caliper, which will secure it. Put the outer pad on as well, same way. Now grab your caliper, slide it over the pads. Okay, the top one lines up, so I'm going to go ahead and put this bolt in just so I can, oh, never mind. Okay, they both line up now. Sometimes it's easier to put the top or the bottom bolt in, whichever lines up first, because then the caliper will pivot on that one and you don't have to move the whole thing around. But these are started, let's snug them up and then we'll torque them. The torque for these is 26 foot-pounds. Again, if you wanted to put anything on these, thread locker, not anti-seize or grease. Now I have my collection bucket here so I can loosen up the banjo bolt on the old caliper. Before I do that though, I'm just going to pop this boot off of here so that it's ready to go on. Loosen this up. As you can see, it's a lot easier now that it has already been loosened. Remove it all the way. Now my caliper did not come with a new banjo bolt, so I'm gonna have to reuse this one. The head is rusty, but the rest of it is in good condition, so it is definitely safe to reuse. As you can see, one of those copper washers just fell down. That is important. You wanna make sure you remove both of the old ones. Pop the line free from the caliper, let the caliper drain, and then you want to inspect the line to make sure that no washer is still left here. There isn't, so I'm going to give it a quick wipe down with a rag. Okay, everything is good. Grab your new copper washers, have them ready. Put one on the banjo bolt, then slide the banjo bolt through the hose, and then put one on the other side of the hose, sandwiching the hose in between the two washers, and then thread this onto the new caliper. Make sure it's bottomed out and seated all the way. And then we'll tighten it up and make sure it doesn't leak. Grab your tool of choice. For me, I'll just do it with my ratchet. Once it's bottomed out, which is right about here, I like to go about half a turn. Basically, what you're looking is to crush the two copper washers together or up against whatever they're touching, and that will make a nice tight seal so that you don't have any leaks. And now, of course, you want to clean this all down because you don't want to confuse the residual leftover fluid for a potential leak. A leak would be very bad and very unsafe, so clean it all down very well. And now what I want to do is pop the bleeder open. Take a pry bar and try to gently get this rubber boot off. Sometimes they get a little bit slippery here from the brake fluid and brake cleaner. I'm using a 3/8 wrench. You could probably use a 10mm, but it might be a little too loose. Loosen this up, and then we'll let gravity do its thing. This is called a gravity bleed, where I'm letting gravity pull fluid down into the caliper through the hose. It'll fill up the caliper internally, push the air out through the bleeder screw. Once there's fluid coming out of here with no visible air bubbles, I'm going to close this off and then perform a full manual brake bleed. It is important that you do that because there might still be air trapped in the system that you won't see, and it won't come out until this is under pressure. So to do that manual brake bleed, you're going to top off your master cylinder, make sure it's nice and full. You don't want air getting into the system. Then you have someone inside the vehicle stepping on the brake pedal, pumping it up a few times. Once it's been pumped up 3 to 4 times and pressure is starting to build up a little bit, have them hold pressure on the brake pedal and then go ahead and crack this bleeder screw open. Air and brake fluid will come out of here. Once the pedal has reached the floor, go ahead and turn this back in and then pump up the brakes again and repeat the procedure several times until you have no more air bubbles coming out of here. Once you have that done, go ahead and cap it off, clean it up, and then we'll be ready to go. But for now, I will wait for the gravity bleed to be over. Assuming your gravity bleed and manual brake bleed are done, go ahead and turn this in and snug it up. You definitely want to make sure this is tight, otherwise you will lose pressure. Don't over tighten it though, you don't want to break it. And important, cap it off, otherwise debris will get in there, clog it up, and the next time you have to bleed your brakes, it won't work. So at this point, let's go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, top off the master cylinder, and then put on the wheel. Now get the wheel back on, put on all 8 of your lug nuts, bottom them out, and then we'll torque them to 165 foot-pounds. And if you have your lug nut cover, don't forget about that.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.